On an elevated platform at an industrial plant, workers are positioned near a large piece of equipment. One man handles a flexible hose connected to the system. Suddenly, a coupling fails, and the pressurized hose whips around, dousing him with a powerful jet of chemicals. He is immediately engulfed in a vapor cloud and collapses. This incident underscores the extreme danger of pressurized systems. Hoses and their fittings must undergo regular inspection for wear and be properly secured to prevent catastrophic failure. Appropriate PPE, including full-face shields and chemical-resistant suits, is non-negotiable. In a textile factory, a worker tends to a massive fabric winding machine. He reaches over the large, rapidly spinning roll to make an adjustment. In an instant, his arm is caught, and the machine's immense power pulls his entire body in, wrapping him violently within the roll of fabric. His co-workers rush to his aid, desperately trying to halt the machine. For over a minute, they struggle with the controls and attempt to manually reverse the powerful mechanism to free their trapped colleague. This horrific entanglement is a direct result of inadequate machine guarding. A protective barrier with an interlock switch would have shut the machine down. This also serves as a grim reminder to never reach over moving parts. The chaotic rescue highlights the need for clear and practiced emergency stop procedures for all heavy machinery. Inside a busy workshop or warehouse, employees are engaged in their daily tasks. Without warning, a violent explosion erupts in the middle of the workspace, sending a shockwave and debris flying in all directions. The likely culprit is a catastrophic failure of a pressurized gas cylinder. Such cylinders must be stored securely upright, chained in place, and kept away from heat sources or areas where they could suffer physical impact. In a vast warehouse, an operator drives an electric pallet jack down an aisle lined with towering storage racks. He appears to be inattentive or fatigued as the vehicle slowly veers to the right. It makes a seemingly minor impact with the base of a shelving upright. But that's all it takes. The collision triggers a devastating domino effect, bringing down the entire aisle of heavy shelving in a matter of seconds. The operator barely manages to run to safety as tons of product come crashing down. This shows why rack protectors are vital and, more importantly, that operators must remain alert at all times, as fatigue can have catastrophic consequences. A worker is feeding material into a green industrial rolling machine. He is sitting directly on the machine's frame, an incredibly dangerous position right next to the powerful intake rollers. As he guides the material, his hand gets caught. He is instantly pulled in and crushed by the machine. This fatal incident was entirely preventable. The machine had no guarding at its point of operation, a fundamental safety violation. Workers must never place themselves on or near moving machinery. Guards, light curtains, or two-hand controls are essential to prevent such tragedies. In a factory setting, a worker operates a large rolling press. As he guides material into the machine's intake, his hand is suddenly caught. He is violently and instantly pulled completely into the powerful rollers. This tragic incident highlights a critical lack of point-of-operation guarding. Safety interlocks, light curtains, or two-hand controls are essential safeguards to prevent such immediate and horrific accidents. From a high vantage point on a construction site, a crane is lifting a platform with 3 workers on it. Suddenly, the rigging gives way, and the platform violently tilts. One of the workers loses his footing and plummets several stories to the ground below. Riding on loads or platforms not specifically designed for personnel is an extremely high-risk activity and is prohibited on most job sites. Only certified man baskets should be used for lifting personnel. At a port, a crane is lifting a large hopper over a truck. Multiple workers are standing around and on the truck, directly underneath the suspended load. Suddenly, the rigging fails, and the multi-ton hopper plummets, crushing the truck's cab and striking at least one person. The number one rule of crane safety is to never position yourself under a suspended load. A clearly marked exclusion zone must be established and maintained for all lifting operations. This incident was caused by a failure in the lifting gear, underscoring the need for certified riggers and thorough pre-lift inspections. 3 workers stand near a stack of heavy steel I-beams resting on supports. The stack appears to be poorly secured. One man begins to unhook a strap, and the loss of that support causes the entire pile to become unstable. The heavy beams slide off their supports and cascade to the ground, pinning one of the workers underneath. His colleagues desperately try to move the immensely heavy beams to free him. This demonstrates a critical failure in material storage. Heavy, unsecured loads are a constant hazard. They must be properly stacked, chocked, and secured, and bindings should only be removed when the load is stabilized by a lifting device. A woman in a lab coat stands in the lobby of a clinic as a visitor enters through a large, frameless glass door. As the visitor closes the door behind her, it suddenly detaches from its overhead pivot hinge. The massive sheet of tempered glass falls and explodes on impact with the floor, sending shards everywhere. The employee inside is startled, but manages to avoid the main impact. This type of failure points to improper installation or worn-out hardware. The fittings for heavy glass doors require regular inspection and maintenance to ensure they can safely support the weight. Inside a factory, one worker is bent over near a long textile machine. The worker's loose clothing gets caught on a low-profile rotating roller. He is instantly flipped and violently dragged into the machinery. This is another severe entanglement incident caused by an unguarded rotating part. Even seemingly slow-moving components can be incredibly dangerous. Machine guarding and prohibiting loose clothing are critical preventative measures that were ignored here. At a construction site, workers are guiding a crane-lifted concrete bucket into position. One man stands directly in the load's swing path to maneuver it by hand. The load shifts unexpectedly, striking him squarely in the head and knocking him to the ground unconscious. Suspended loads must only be guided using tag lines from a safe distance. Placing yourself in the path of a swinging load puts you at the mercy of physics, a risk no one should ever take. A worker guides a thick metal wire onto a large, rotating spooling machine. His gloved hand gets too close and is caught between the wire and the spool. The machine's torque instantly pulls him off his feet, slamming him against the frame as his arm is dragged into the mechanism. This type of entanglement happens in a split second. Guiding materials should be done with appropriate tools from a safe distance, and all rotating parts require proper guarding to prevent any possibility of contact. In a commercial bakery, a worker is cleaning around a massive industrial dough mixer while the safety cage is lifted up. As she bends down, a co-worker walks up to the machine and, without checking his surroundings, activates it. The powerful mixing hook starts to rotate, catching the woman and pulling her into the bowl. The other workers rush in panic to stop the machine and help their gravely injured colleague. This is a catastrophic failure to follow lockout, tagout procedures. The machine should have been completely de-energized and locked before any cleaning began. The safety guard was bypassed, and the operator failed to ensure the area was clear before starting the equipment. In a processing facility, a massive bulk bag of granular material is suspended from a hoist. A worker climbs onto a metal cart, positioning himself directly underneath the 1-ton bag to cut it open from the bottom. The moment he punctures the bag, the lifting loops fail, and the entire load collapses on top of him, burying him completely. His co-workers are forced into a desperate and lengthy rescue, digging through the material by hand to find him. This is a fatal mistake, born from ignoring the most fundamental rule of lifting: never work under a suspended load. The bag should have been securely placed in a proper discharging station before being opened. This tragic event demonstrates how a shortcut can lead to the ultimate price, leaving colleagues to deal with the horrifying aftermath of a decision that took only seconds to make. In a commercial kitchen, a deep fryer catches fire. A worker panics and throws a container of liquid, almost certainly water, onto the flames. This causes a violent eruption, spreading the grease fire. After the initial mistake, he reacts correctly by grabbing a fire extinguisher to put out the blaze. This is a crucial lesson. Never use water on a grease fire. Water vaporizes instantly, spreading burning oil. The proper response is to smother the fire with a lid or use a Class K fire extinguisher specifically designed for kitchen fires.